Hi there, Connie Fuchsa here with Foot Title Group, where we know how intimidating buying a home can be, and we make sure that you are kept in the loop every step of the way through your settlement process, and we pull all the pieces together so you have nothing to worry about. And then after closing, we make sure that nobody can have any reason to take that home away from you once you purchase it and move into that great new dream home of yours. So, hope you had a great weekend. Last week we talked, well, the last 2 weeks actually, we talked about what happens before your settlement. What are all the things that go on while we are preparing everything for your closing? So you'd get a little bit better understanding for what the process is and what the steps are. So we finished up with that last week, and this week we started a new series called During Your Settlement, where we actually detail some of the documents you're going to be signing, some of the process that's going to happen. And so we want to keep you rolling through the process so you understand what's happening. So this week it's called During Your Settlement. And I actually think we're going to run through 2 weeks on this one to give you some of the documents that you're going to be signing. So if you checked out your Facebook or any of our social media posts yesterday, you would have seen the first step in the During Your Settlement process series, which is the closing disclosure. So some of you who have purchased homes or properties before might know the closing disclosure as what we used to call the HUD-1. And the HUD-1, or now the closing disclosure, is the document that has all the costs on it for you. So it's when we say we're pulling together all the pieces, not only do we pull together all of the certifications, coordinate the buyers and the sellers, the realtor, the lender, we coordinate all of those things, but then we coordinate all of the costs for you. So we get the costs from the lender, we review your contract to understand what you agreed to and didn't agree to, and then all of the costs for all of the things that were done in order to get that home ready for closing for you. So we pull together all those figures, and those figures come together in one document that used to be called the settlement statement or the HUD-1, and is now called a closing disclosure. For the buyer, the closing disclosure also includes all the details about your loan. So when you sit down at closing, the very first thing that we go over with you is that closing disclosure, so we can make sure that everything looks like you agreed to with your lender, with the house that you're buying with your seller, with your realtor. So all of those things are exactly what you were expecting, and we certainly hope they were, and lots of eyes check it before you actually get to the table. So typically, we hopefully have most of that information all correct. From the seller's perspective, there is a separate document that you sign as well. No longer is the buyers and the sellers figures on the same document. That was one of the changes going from the HUD-1 or the settlement statement to the closing disclosure. Now everything is on two different documents, so the buyer's information is personal to them and the seller's information is personal to them. So, and at the end of closing, we will not give you, the buyer, or you, the seller, the buyer or seller's closing disclosure, because that is their personal information. So with a lot of changes that happen federally about how we do things at both as you're going through the process with your lender, with your realtor, but also at closing. So those documents are all separate now, and no one will get any of that information unless, of course, you authorize it. And when the realtors are at closing, and we usually give them their check and then their form of that settlement statement, they now get what's called an ALTA statement that just has the breakdown of the costs on it, but it does not have any of the loan information or any of the private information that we're not able to give out, which used to be a little more public than what it than what it is now. But none of the loan information used to be on the settlement statement. But since it's all together in one document now, it all has to be separated as to who can get one document. So the ALTA settlement statement goes to your realtors. The closing disclosure for the buyer goes to the buyer, and then the seller has a separate ALTA statement that has all their information on it. So hopefully this helped you with our first step during the process of settlement, and we have more to come. The next 2 weeks are going to be full of information. So hopefully you'll tune in, and if there's anything we can do for you, please let us know. You can reach us through our website, www.foottitlegroup.com, where there's blog posts with information. There is coupons on there. There's more information about all of these processes. You can get in touch with any of our team members, whether you have information or questions about Maryland or Virginia, or you'd like to get in touch with us to do a closing for you. All of our team members' contact information's on there. You can also message me here or email me, Connie at foottitlegroup.com, and I'd love to help you. And feel free to ask any questions because I'd love to share those on future posts, and it certainly gives me information to understand what you're looking for. So stay in the know zone with Foot Title Group, where we make sure that you understand everything about the process of buying that home that you're purchasing, and we pull all those pieces together for you so it's not intimidating, so you are aware and in the know zone with Foot Title Group. Hope you're having a great evening, and I'll talk to you soon.